Today on the BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast, we're talking about, is real estate investing a business, a hobby, or could it be both? Stay tuned.
You're listening to another BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast, where you'll hear short, direct answers to your biggest real estate questions. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forums by using hashtag AskBP. And don't forget to pick up your copy of the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing and other great content when you sign up for your free account at BiggerPockets.com. With that, let's get to the show.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Brandon, and you're listening or watching the Ask BP podcast here on BiggerPockets.com. I just want to thank you for that. You guys rock that you're joining me today to learn a little bit more about real estate investing. Today's question actually comes to us from Rondalette from Dallas, Texas. And Rondalette asks, what is the difference when starting real estate investing, whether it's a hobby or a business? Now, she's probably referring to the fact that I talk about this all the time, whether it's on the other BiggerPockets podcast, the main, like the big BiggerPockets podcast at BiggerPockets.com/podcast, or if it's here on the Ask BP podcast, or in my book, the book on investing in real estate with no and low money down. I talk about it there. In the upcoming book that I'm working on right now, which is going to be the best real estate book ever written, that I talk a whole entire chapter on it. I'm always talking about this concept, and here's why. When I started, no one explained this to me. Nobody told me that real estate is a business. Like, I don't know why that didn't comprehend in my mind. I just always just did it as it came at me, just like anything in life, right? So if my dog gets sick, I just go and react, right? I'm very reactive. I deal with it. If my, I don't know, all my analogies revolve around my animals. If my cat, runs away and I got to go find it, I got to deal with that. I'm very reactive. It's almost like a hobby. I'm just kind of like doing it for fun or whatever else. Now, on the flip side of that is the business of things. Now, I run, a business of real estate, which means I prepare and I plan. I have people in place to do things. I look at it like a business owner. I don't consider myself any different from the guy that runs the Dairy Queen down the street, or from the lady who's, selling Mary Kay products to, any of those business owners. That's what I do. I'm a business owner. And I love being a business owner because it's so much easier to succeed at real estate when you run it like a business. There are people I know in my life that have tried to invest in real estate, and they've maybe done it for years, but they've always just ran it like a hobby. Like when things happen, they just react to it and they just deal with it and they just kind of fly by the seat of their pants. And as a result, a lot of them end up getting burned out, frustrated, losing interest, losing money, going bankrupt. Those are all things that happen to people who just treat their business like a hobby. Now, if you treat your business like a business, you've got people in place, like I said, and you've got systems. That's kind of a key word, is systems in place to handle everything. So, for example, let me just give you kind of some concrete examples of what I'm talking about. Somebody calls you up and says, yeah, I want to rent one of your properties. Okay, okay, I can show it to you later today. All right. You meet them over there and you're like, yeah, it's the property. And they're like, oh, yeah, I like it. It's pretty good. And you're like, okay, well, it's $500 a month for rent. And they're like, all right. And you shake hands and they move in. Right? Like, that's just like acting, this is just how I'm doing things. It's just reacting to the situation at hand. Now, instead, they call to look at a property. You say, okay, well, great. First of all, you answer professionally because businesses should be professional. You tell them, now, look, our company policy is that we do A, B, C, and D. You have to have a 650 credit score, a 600 credit score, or whatever it is. You've got to have 3 times the monthly rent in income somehow. So you have to make at least, $4,500 a month. You have to have at least, 5 years of positive landlord references and, blah, 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 whatever your screening criteria are. Great. Then you meet with them at the property and they're like, well, can I give you, an extra $50 a month and then I will, you don't have to run the background check? And if you're running it like a hobby, you might be tempted to say, sure. If you're running it like a business, you say, look, I'm running, our business policy is this, and you don't deviate from it. Obviously there are cases where you could deviate from your rules, but generally speaking, business owners have a way of doing things. I'm a huge fan of the book, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Love that book because it's all about your business should run like a well-oiled machine. And even more than that, your business should run like a well-oiled machine without you being there. Now, you're going to be involved in your business. I'm not saying you should go sit 4 hours on a beach somewhere a week or whatever the popular thing is these days, but I'm saying you probably need to be involved, but you should be replaceable involved, meaning you've created systems and how everything is done. This is how our screening process works. We have an outline, we have a process that this is how it happens. And that way, if something happened to you, or if you didn't want to do that anymore, you could replace that. Here's a tangible example. If your tenants are calling your personal cell phone, then that's kind of a hobbyish kind of a thing, right? That's not a business thing. You don't call up the guy who owns, the meat shop downtown. You don't call his cell phone and when he's off hours and talk to him about meat. You go into his business during the work hours. Now, you might not have work hours, but a concrete way for you to make it more business-like is go get a separate phone number. Now, you could use something like Google Voice, or there's something called like Grasshopper. Grasshopper costs a little bit of money. Google Voice is free, but Grasshopper has a few more features and stuff. Anyway, you can get one of those, and that way they have a dedicated phone number just for your business. Now, think about it this way. If you no longer want to answer phones, great. You can just transfer. Normally, that phone number will ring your cell phone, but you could transfer it to somebody else's cell phone because you're on vacation or because you're no longer doing it anymore, whatever the purpose is. You made it so you were a replaceable part in your system. And that's what running it like a business means more than running it like a hobby. And so, again, it's having systems and processes and people and outsourcing. It means reading business books. Don't just read real estate books. I love real estate books, but man, I've grown so much as an investor in the past 3 years because I started reading business books. Start with the E-Myth. Read, I don't know what's a good one. The E-Myth is probably my favorite. Read Rich Dad Poor Dad if you haven't yet. It's kind of a businessy book. Read Cash Flow Quadrant, the sequel to Rich Dad Poor Dad. Getting Things Done by David Allen. Those things are business books that help a lot. The One Thing by Gary Keller. Fantastic business book. Read some business books. Become a better businessman or businesswoman, and you will do much better in your real estate investing. So with that, let's get out of here. If you've not yet left us a rating or review on iTunes for the Ask BP podcast, I would love if you did that. I'll give you a big, gigantic hug when I see you next time. And of course, I'm going to leave you with my success quote of the day. Not mine, but today's comes from Mr. Money Mustache. And it's a website. A guy named, anyway, good guy. But he goes by Mr. Money Mustache. His quote was, "Life is not a competition. It's a gigantic collaboration, and the world welcomes and rewards people who see it that way." Life is not a competition. It is a giant collaboration, and the world welcomes and rewards people who see it that way. Love that quote. That's my favorite quote today. I've been saying it all day. So with that, let's get out of here. Remember, in your pursuit of your goals, your dreams, and your real estate investing, do not just learn, but take action, and take action today. For the Ask BP podcast, my name is Brandon, signing off.
You've just heard another episode of the BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forum by using hashtag AskBP. And for more incredible real estate investing tools and education, including a free download of our book, The Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing, head over to BiggerPockets.com and sign up for your free account today. We'll see you on the next show.